Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Usually I don't talk much about politics, but, being woke and being, we can be just like men and go out and do our own thing and sleep with anybody and have our fun. It's all kind of the same progressive, motive. And, it always comes back to bite people. Very rarely do I meet two people that started dating when they were a little bit younger, or they kept their body count a little lower, or they were always honest with each other. That's a huge one, always honest with each other. And because once the trust is gone, in many cases, you can't get it back, if ever. So keeping that important. I've got a story I'm actually going to be uploading here in a little bit. The new women's dating advice: just lie about your past. No, don't change what you're doing. We want conservative men. We want, old-fashioned men that will provide for us, take care of us when we decide to go our crazy ways. But we're not going to change the way that we women are going to do things. So we'll get into that. But I wanted to talk about how, people will do this. And there is a really good lesson here, which is, you have to think about more than the moment. And everything today, in dating, in jobs, in politics, everything's, let's just worry about this now. Let's just talk about this now. And we don't look, and when I say we, I mean society as a whole, and many of our politicians and everybody else, women and their future prospects for dating, some dudes, when it comes maybe to job, money, income, they don't look at what happens down the road. And we have to look at what happens when things come down the road. Let me silence my phone here so it doesn't vibrate. We have to look at that stuff, because if you don't, you're going to make mistakes today and you're going to be in problems later on. But I wanted to talk about how the woke ruined Hollywood, and now they're leaving it. I've been against Hollywood now for several years, since they decided to jump on board with telling us how to live while they have their millions of dollars and they fly around in their private jets and jump on their $1 billion or $1 million yachts. But they tell me that I should take the bus because my SUV uses too much gas or whatever. So two stories here. Exclusive: Amazon moving thousands of employees out of Seattle, relocating key division to a nearby city. Now, many of you may not know this. Amazon started out in Seattle. They're leaving the city that they started with. Why? Because of the politics and the progressives, and they all came in and they voted for all these things, and then they look around and they go, I don't like this very much. It's not turning out so well for us. So instead of changing how they vote, instead of maybe speaking out in a different tone, no, they just say, well, we're gonna leave this mess behind, and we'll go someplace else and ruin that area next. They say in-depth coverage of Amazon from the tech giant's hometown, including e-commerce, AWS, Amazon Prime, Alexa, Echo, logistics, and more. That's everything. Amazon's just yeeting out of Seattle. And don't tell me that Seattle's not going to miss those taxes for all their free programs. They say Amazon plans to relocate its entire Seattle-based worldwide operations team to Bellevue, Washington by 2023, adding thousands of employees to its new campus just across Lake Washington. According to an internal email obtained by GeekWire, moving a large and crucial team away from Amazon's Seattle headquarters is a significant relocation of employees on its own, but it's also a weighty symbolic gesture, the clearest sign yet that the tech giant is cooling on its hometown while doubling down on a neighboring city. Now, here's the thing. I feel bad for the neighboring city, because if it's smaller and its taxes are a little bit lower and it's a little bit more conservative, I didn't look it up, they're going to come in, they're going to vote for the same policies that ruined Seattle, and then they're going to ruin this town. But here's the main story, and this is from the Daily Wire. Report: rich and famous leaving Hollywood in droves over unrest and taxes. Well, you have to pay for, again, it feels good. It feels good to say, something, I would like to help the homeless. And I genuinely mean that. Like, I think we need some programs for the homeless. But we used to have mental hospitals, and yes, you called them insane asylums, but they had mental hospitals. And the left came in, the woke came in, and they said, it's no fair locking these people up. You need to let them be free. Let them do what they want. You can't lock these people up. They're innocent of no crimes. So they closed, and this is going back to, gosh, the 80s and the 90s. So they closed all these programs, and these people say, I'm not, now they don't really say this, but they're not mentally well enough to hold down a job or be normal. And so now you have a bunch of crazy homeless people out on the streets, many of them using illicit substances. And there's a lot of problems. And so here's the thing that, again, this is why you have to think down the road. When you hire a bunch of people to solve a problem, what happens when they solve that problem? They're out of a job. What happens when you elect someone to solve a problem and they solve it? They're out of a job. Well, these people don't want to, they don't want to be out of jobs. So they just keep saying, well, it didn't work because you didn't give us enough money. You need to give us more. And now California's got, I think, a 10% tax rate just for the state. So if you're one of these Hollywood millionaires and you make $10 million on a movie, you probably have to pay 30 to 35% to the feds. So there's 3.5 gone. Another $1 million to California. There's 4.5 gone. You've lost 50% of your money. But now, because they're now leaving it, they're leaving the area that they voted for. This is why Hollywood is so full of hypocrites. A new report from Daily Mail claims that the rich and famous, who make up much of Los Angeles' tax base, are fleeing the city in droves over the unrest, the bug-related restrictions, and municipal management that has resulted in a crime wave. You know, there was a person that was kind of famous that said this.
Everything woke turns to shit.
And boy, was he right. And in California now, people are moving out. Joe Rogan's moved out. Daily Wire, their whole entire staff moved to Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville's becoming the new conservative LA, I guess. They say a makeshift tent city made up of flapping tarpaulins. Tarpaulins? I'm not familiar with that one. And cardboard boxes surround Arnold Schwarzenegger's former gym on all sides. Junkies and the homeless, many of whom are clearly mentally ill, walk the palm-lined streets like zombies, all just 3 blocks from multi-million-dollar homes overlooking the Pacific. They're having the same thing happen now in areas of New York City, areas of Philadelphia. The same thing spreads. And again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because when you want to fix something with your heart because you feel that it's right, but you don't use your head to look at the long-term ramifications, there's going to be problems. And this comes into the dating world as well. When you think with your heart or you think with your Johnson and you say, yeah, she's a little crazy, but man, she's fun in bed. Or, yeah, she's got a lot of things I don't agree with, but I want a girlfriend, and so I end up dating her. And then in the end, there's going to be problems because you're not thinking logically. You have to think logically when it comes to things that drive and give you direction in life. And they didn't. And this is just another example. And I do stories all the time on the dating world on this stuff, but this is an off topic, but it shows you the same results when you just think of with your emotions of I want now, I want something that's selfish, or this makes me feel good and I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. The end result is bad. Now, in a case like this, they can run away from Hollywood. Problem is, if you really screw up your life, you're going to have a hard time running away from your life and your bad past decisions. Trust me, I know on that one. They say stolen bicycles are piled high on pavements littered with broken syringes. The outlet continues. TV bulletins are filled with horror stories from across the city of women being attacked during their morning jog or residents returning home to find strangers defecating in the front of their gardens. A moving company head told the outlet there's a mass exodus from Hollywood, and it's a lot to do with politics. They say the political decisions, liberal politics, have destroyed the city. Now, let me pause here. These are not liberal politics. These are left politics. True liberals is actually, I'm kind of a liberal libertarian. Liberals mean, I'm pretty liberal with everything that comes at me, both from conservatives and the left. I want to hear your thoughts on it. We'll have a discussion on it, and we'll make a decision on it. We all know that's not the left. The left is do as I say, shut up. So I'm going to correct that. Left politics have destroyed the city. The homeless encampments are legal, and there's nothing the police can do. They say white, affluent, middle-class folks are getting out. People don't feel safe anymore. But these are the same people that said, but we want to help the homeless. And you know what? If people want to do their drugs, we're going to help them. But we'll offer help. We'll offer them help. But if they don't want to take it, hey, they should be allowed to do what they want to do. They say, like most major cities, Los Angeles has experienced mass unrest since late May following the Floyd incident. While the custody in Minneapolis Police Department, that has certainly led to a wave of uneasiness among residents. But homelessness has also taken a jump, and like New York City, Chicago, Minneapolis, and other municipalities, LA is experiencing an uptick in crime. It's not an uptick. It is a full-on mass surge. This week, Los Angeles authorities announced that the city would experience rolling blackouts as a way to save energy during a heat wave, shocking some residents. Well, when you turn on these and I know this because my bus, I had solar installed, and I looked at how much solar I would need to run an air conditioner. It's more solar, even just air-conditioned a little tiny bus. I would require more solar panels on the roof of the bus. There's not enough roof on the bus to fit enough solar panels to run just a little tiny air conditioner to AC the bus during the day. I might be able to get away with it if I did nothing else. But what do you do at night when it's still warm and the sun's gone down and your solar's done? Now, I'm not poo-pooing solar. I put it on my bus. I spent several $1,000s to put solar on my bus, and I'm going to install it in my new home. It is to be a little bit greener, but when you look into how much the lithium mining and everything else, it's not that green. But mostly it's because if we get into a conflict with China or Russia or somebody else, and they end up hacking and taking down our power grid, I'll still have electricity. I'm going to have a well dug, so I'll still have well. I have a septic tank, so my bathroom still works. I'm off grid, baby. That's why I'm doing it. But when you only have windmills and solar and not enough battery storage to fix that, you're going to have problems. Again, it's thinking with your heart. This feels right. This makes me feel good. And I feel like I'm helping the environment without using the logic of looking what's coming down the road of what happens if this, what happens if this, what about the mining of this stuff? Where is this coming from? What happens if they all of a sudden decide, foreign countries where we're getting our lithium and probably using youth labor, what happens when they say you can't have any more? And you've given up all your fossil fuels. You're done. You're in trouble. They say the city's lack of management has also made matters worse, residents told the Daily Mail. Hollywood has always been the wokest of the woke, so politicians have done nothing to stop people sleeping on the streets. It's not illegal and the weather's nice, so they keep coming, a former Hollywood publicist told the outlet. There is insufficient housing, inadequate mental health care, and with the bug, it's a perfect storm. Joe Rogan drew up his roots and moving to California to a redder state. And they go on a little bit, another paragraph about this. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this so much is because and you guys know this, when you're dating and you're doing it from an emotional place and you love her and you're going to do anything in the world to make her happy, and then she pulls the rug out from underneath you, you're in a world of hurt. Like you feel like you've given up a big portion of your life. You've gone off your track. You're unhappy. And now you need to find your way back to being a single guy, doing your thing. And you're miserable. But you led this relationship with your heart. What happens when you lead one with your mind? You can say, hey, you know what? She's crazy. And she might be fun in the bedroom, but, that's trouble. I don't need that. Or you can say she's emotionally unstable. And it takes too much energy out of my day, putting energy into that, and only getting 20 to 30 minutes of maybe the bedroom fun or good conversation or whatever. You start looking at it from a benefit cost analysis when you use your mind. That's important, especially today. And again, because I've got a lot of stories out here where women are just straight out like racking up body counts and behaving poorly. And then they meet a great guy and they say, geez, I really, I could see myself with this guy. Alpha Chad dude, bro. He's amazing. I want to be with him for the rest of my life. But I don't want him to know how awful a person I've acted or how awful I've acted in my bad past. So I'm just going to lie about it. And that's building the entire relationship upon a lie. And what happens as a guy if you believe that and then later on you find out about her past? If you're all in emotionally, you're crushed. Your future looks bleak. It's going to take you a lot of reassessing to get back on the right track. But if you think from a logical standpoint, you say, you know, we have these things in common. She meets my needs here. I meet her needs here. And you kind of step back from the situation. You're going to have better success. And that's what you need to do, whether it's in politics, and I don't care left, right, center, whatever with politics, okay? I've always said you do you. Same thing with these youths that are deciding to they're boys that want to be girls or girls that want to be boys, and you start taking these chemicals and you're doing these other things. You have to look at the long-term ramifications, not how do I feel today, not what's going on today, but what's the end result? How am I going to feel afterwards? And then move through it slowly. Look at the pros and the cons. But I wanted to talk about this a little bit today because I want you guys to not make the same mistakes I have in my past when I was in my 20s and 30s, which was thinking emotionally. And it was devastating, and it got me off course, and I was always miserable, and I was unhappy, and I was making mistake after mistake after mistake, and I had no personality. I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. Only when I said, you know what, enough with this emotional stuff. Let me step back. Let me think about things. Let me slow down. Let me analyze. Let me find stoicism. Let me find a better course through life. Only then did I actually truly find happiness. Ironically, if you chase happiness and you chase women, you will neither find happiness nor women. Only when you find, or only when you chase your own passions, and even if your passion is women, doesn't matter. Chase your own passions, your long-term goals, your retirement, your career, spending good time with family and friends, and building a strong foundation. Then, if you decide to get into a relationship, you're coming from a place of my life is great. And if you'd like to be a part of my life, you're lucky. If you can think that way, you're going to have probably a really good relationship. And if she does end up doing something wrong or treating you poorly or bailing on you, you're not worried because you're still in a great life. And actually, you can look at her and say, wow, she screwed up. She left something that was really awesome. And many times they don't do that. Guys, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com or Rumble on betterbachelor.locals.com. I'm going to be doing unique stories like this one, thinking her place is a good idea for hookup. I'm not going to do this one on YouTube because here you can see the title there. New York City woman allegedly held internet date and against his will, basically, and held him until they were going to get money from a bunch of guys that came in when this dude was over at this girl's place, and they inflicted some pain on him, and they left him in a pretty bad mess. I want to do that over there because that way I don't have to jumble around all the words. But I do want to talk about it because a lot of you guys say, hey, you know what, man, I give her a fake name on the dating apps, and then I go to her place and we do the hookup, and then I bounce, and she doesn't even know where I live. She doesn't know my real name. It may not be so safe because I think this young gal's 18, and that she had 3 or 4 accomplices that rolled on this dude to get some money. So join me over there for stories like that. And, of course, for the dating profiles of the day, which we are going to do now on Rumble and Locals. And for you guys on YouTube, sorry, but YouTube doesn't play nice.